CA versus CFA. Recently, I've been having interesting conversations with a lot of students, especially because the CA results just came, and I've had a bunch of students who've cleared or not cleared, and are always trying to understand if they should also combine CA with CFA or choose either one. So in this video, let me take you through the details, hoping that you will make the right decision for your career. We all know that CA is something, if you've seen any of my other videos, by the way, I always make sure that if you're confused, you first decide yes or no on CA rather than comparing CA with anything else. CA has its tremendous value in India. It's broad, it covers everything in finance and accounts, it's reputed, and it's difficult and challenging. It has almost everything that a good qualification needs to have, and it deserves the reputation it has. CFA, on the other hand, is almost as popular as CA in India, when everybody knows that CFA is to do with finance. There are students who might not know the full form of CFA, but they know that CFA is a good, recognized, reputed qualification in the field of finance. Both are amazingly well known across the world. Both are difficult exams, but both are also equally rewarding. So, what are the differences and what should you do? Well, first things first, CA you can start after grade 12 in India. CFA you can start in your second last year of graduation. So for most commerce students, that is second year of BCom, or 1 year after you can actually start your CA. So first, if you're thinking you'll do both together, might be difficult. So right now, let's just park that. Second, when it comes to the duration, we know CA takes 5 years approximately at the minimum. CFA you can complete in 3 years, but both can of course go longer. CFA can also go shorter, but that's not what we've seen too much. It generally goes longer than 3 years if you are not at your best in terms of giving exams for either or. When it comes to the academic structure, CA has 3 levels. There's foundation, inter CA, final CA, and in the middle of that, there is a 2-year articleship now when it comes to the new rules of CA. In CFA, there's level 1, level 2, level 3. You can give each of them 6 months apart. And yes, you need 3 years of work experience to become what we call a CFA charter holder. But that work can be done before, during, or after exams. The main points here are that CA covers everything. It covers accounts, financial management, costing, tax, and audit. And CFA, it's primarily into finance. So it covers things like equity, portfolio management, derivatives. This is, of course, at the later level. At the beginning level, they also cover a little bit of financial statements, which is like accounts, a little bit of economics, a little bit of quantitative analysis, which is more of maths and statistics, etc. So here is the difference for you all to know in terms of academics, but I would not recommend too much of thought over here. Both you learn enough real world practical subjects that will serve you for the rest of your life. So academically, both are extremely valuable for yourself, much more than the industry. Next comes the exam window. So the CA exams happen twice a year, essentially. So if you don't clear, you have to wait for half a year. In CFA, level 1 happens 4 times a year, level 2 happens 3 times a year, and level 3 happens twice a year. So in terms of frequency, CFA is of course slightly more. When it comes to the passing rate, we know CA's passing rate is in single digits, whereas CFA's global passing rate is between 40 to 50%, which means in CA, 1 out of 10 people clear, but in CFA, 4 or 5 out of 10 land up clearing the exam. When it comes to the paper pattern, right? In CA, it is all written, and a lot of it, the portion is very vast, and there's a lot of it to rote learn, whereas in CFA, level 1 and most of level 2 is completely objective, and all the 3 exams are computer based. And the most important thing is, in CFA, it is very application oriented. You get much more of case studies rather than things like, where you have to try to remember much out of your memory. It's not like, tell us 5 ways of calculating this, or what do you mean by this definition? Those kind of questions are not really asked in CFA. It is much more case study or application based. All right, next let's talk about the scope. So CA, everybody knows, if you're a chartered accountant, even if it takes you multiple attempts, you will end up getting a good job. You can build your entire career around it, and the upside is unlimited. We've had billionaires in the country who are chartered accountants. So, and chartered accountants are also recognized in other countries. When I was working in PwC, my seniors who are chartered accountants are currently working either in Australia or Singapore, and I know somebody else who's working in some other country in Europe, but all are pure chartered accountants. Also, when I spoke about billionaires, if you see, Kumar Mangalam Birla is a chartered accountant, and like that, we've had politicians like Suresh Prabhu, top banks of India, and their presidents, their CEOs, their managing directors, many of them are chartered accountants. CFA, on the other hand, again, massive scope. In India, in spite of it being an international qualification, everybody in India knows what CFA is. Everybody in the field of finance knows. Everybody in the field of banking knows. And CFA even has value at each level. So while level 3 is, of course, the aim you should go for, you also start getting recognition at level 1 and level 2. The salary packages for both are more or less the same. Sometimes CAs can get more in the beginning, but by the time you catch up in CFA, between 4 to 5 years of completing both the qualification, the salary packages in India can actually match. Many of you all must have heard that the Adani groups, last year there was an entire crash in their stocks because of something called the Hindenburg report. The Hindenburg report is by a firm called Hindenburg, whose CEO is a CFA. A CFA can get you to such places. CFA is also great if you want to get into portfolio management, investment banking, private equity, venture capital, and all of these, by the way, are also possible if you're a chartered accountant. Maybe you might have to combine MBA to either, but this is the direction that it goes in because these are all finance field. CA has the potential to let you open your own CA firm, get into audit, get into tax, which are more specific accounting roles. Lastly, when it comes to entrepreneurship, both of these have high value. We've seen that happen all the time. When it comes to the fee structure, CA you can complete in around 2 to 3 lakhs. CFA will take you around 4 to 5 lakhs. Honestly, not that vast the difference when you look at what the outcome is. And if you look at the duration, it might make more sense to some of you all to pay a little higher for CFA, but you get done in half the time that you can in CA. However, if you are more keen on CA, again, a couple of years of your life in the beginning will not matter when it comes to the bigger picture. That being said, I'm very keen on ensuring that students are always doing what they can get the highest value in the shortest period of time. So what should you do? Well, simply put, guys, if you've made up your mind, then this conversation is, it stops right there, right? If you've decided to do CA, please go ahead. If you decided to do CFA, no thinking over that. However, if you're confused, a few thoughts. Start with your eligibility. If you are just given your 12th, you can study for CA immediately, but then there is a long period of effort. And if you want to do CFA, you can give the exam next year, but you can start studying from it for now. Second, I would like you to think about is time. I always go for time like I just mentioned. So CFA is definitely shorter. Third, whether you want to stay in India or overseas. India, CA will always have more value, but CFA has massive value. However, if you want to move overseas, CFA is very well recognized, whereas a CA, you need experience. Hopefully, you need some good brands that you worked in so that when you apply overseas, not only your qualification, but your experience is also going to be crucial. Fee structure, honestly, I'm not that, bothered. Both are similar. Both salary packages at the fresher level are similar. For both, you need to go through that initial grind of what articleship for CA is. Similarly, in the beginning, CFAs don't give you anything. You have to go through that grind for a couple of years. That's a no-brainer. So with all things set similar, right? If you're not clear as to what to do, right? One is finance and accounts, one is specialization in finance. If you're not clear, then my main suggestion is time. And if time is on, if you want to save up on time, then CFA. But if you have conviction in CA, then don't worry about time. You will get to where you want through this qualification. If I've not answered anything that you all want, please leave it in the comments and I'll definitely reach out to you guys. Thank you.